Welcome to See the Bible in 60 Days. This is the 60-day journey we're on, and we're going to jump right in. I'm your instructor, Tim Stewart, and I'm going to go right into the class curriculum. And right now, I'm showing you the online course version. And so if you look here, all you got to do is hit Start Next Segment. It shows you your percentage complete. Right now, if you're on day 3 with me, we're 4% complete with the 60-day journey. Let's go to day 3. Day 3 begins with a online scripture reading, and so we're going to go ahead and click on this link and jump to YouVersion or Bible.com. If you've got the app, there's a portable app that's available for mobile device reading. And when I click on this, we're going to go to Genesis chapter 1, and it's defaulting to the Message, but I'm going to use the Passion version. Okay, Genesis chapter 1, heaven and earth. First this, God created the heavens and earth. All you see, all you don't see. Earth was a soup of nothingness, a bottomless emptiness, an inky blackness. God's spirit brooded like a bird above the watery abyss. God spoke light, and light appeared. God saw that the light was good and separated light from dark. God named the light day. He named the dark night. It was evening. It was morning. Day 1. God spoke, sky in the middle of the waters. Separate water from water. God made sky. He separated the water under the sky from above the sky, and there it was. He named sky the heavens. It was evening. It was morning. Day 2. God spoke, separate water beneath heaven, gather into one place, land appear, and there it was. God named the land earth. He named the pooled water ocean. God saw that it was good. God spoke, earth, green up, grow all varieties of seed-bearing plants, every sort of fruit-bearing tree, and there it was. Earth produced green, seed-bearing plants, all varieties, and fruit-bearing trees of all sorts. God saw that it was good. It was evening, it was morning, day 3. God spoke, lights, come out, shine in the heaven sky, separate day from night, mark seasons and days and years, lights in the heaven sky to give light to earth. And there it was. God made 2 big lights, the larger to take charge of day, the smaller to be in charge of night. And he made the stars. God placed them in the heavenly sky to light up the earth and oversee day and night, to separate light and dark. God saw that it was good. It was evening. It was morning. Day 4. God spoke, swarm ocean with fish and all sea life. Birds fly through the sky over earth. God created the huge whales, all the swarm of life in the waters, and every kind of species of flying birds. God saw that it was good. God blessed them. Prosper, reproduce. Fill ocean, birds reproduce on earth. It was evening, it was morning, day 5. God spoke, earth, generate life. Every sort of kind, or every sort and kind, cattle and reptiles and wild animals, all kinds. And there it was, wild animals of every kind, cattle of all kinds, every sort of reptile and bug. God saw that it was good. God spoke, let us make human beings in our image. Make them reflecting our nature, so that they can be responsible for the fish in the sea, the birds in the air, the cattle, and yes, earth itself, and every animal that moves on the face of the earth. God created human beings. He created them godlike, reflecting God's nature. He created them male and female. God blessed them. Prosper, reproduce, fill earth, take charge. Be responsible for fish in the sea and birds in the air, for every living thing that moves on the face of the earth. Then God said, I've given you every sort of seed-bearing plant on earth, and every kind of fruit-bearing tree, given them to you for food. To all animals and all birds, everything that moves and breathes, I will give whatever grows out of the ground for food. And there it was. God looked over everything he had made. It was so good, so very good. It was evening, it was morning, day 6. When you see a shadow, you're seeing a faint reflection of an object or person that comes from standing in front of a source of light. God, who is called light in the scriptures, says we are like him as a shadow bears the outline of its maker. When God says that we were made in his image, he is saying that we were made from a pattern or outline that reflects something about him. The main word for God in the scriptures is the one who exists. He is personal and capable of relating to us in that way. We, like God, exist and have personalities. Why did God tell the people of Israel not to attempt to reprint him using forms, images, or statues? God told us he did not want us to make images, shadow outlines of him, partly because there was no image full enough or beautiful enough to represent him well. This is why he came himself as the Son of God, and why the scripture teaches that Jesus was the exact representation of his image. Jesus allowed us to see God for who he really is. While God created us in his image and likeness, we have fallen short of the goal of representing him well. We have missed the mark. This is what the word sin meant in both Hebrew and Christian scriptures. The Hebrew scriptures attempt to map words to concrete things that we can relate to. Rather than dealing with abstract truths, they wanted to relate their language to practical things that humans could feel, taste, or touch. Think of a cord. Cords were used for binding as well as measuring. A cord was often stretched between 2 points to measure. The root word used for sin is to miss the mark. When archers would aim at a target but miss, they would use a cord to measure the distance between the target and the shot. The goal of this was not shame, blame, or guilt, but improvement. The more the archer measured, the more they were able to change their aim for the next shot. God's target is having us represent him well. Our English use of the word sin has been marred with cultural baggage that is tied only to shame, blame, and guilt. God simply wanted us to represent him well and to bear his image, but we missed the target. And so he had to come and represent himself to the world to set the record straight. Shame is rooted in an incorrect understanding of our identity. When the story of Adam and Eve is told in the Hebrew Bible, they do experience shame because they have lost their identity, which was connected deeply to the healthy relationship they had with God, where they walked with him in the cool of the day. Shame comes when we think of ourselves as existing independent from God, and we do good and evil on our own terms, or we define good and evil on our own terms. The book of Genesis tells the story of creation, the origin of shame, blame, and humans' independence from God. The word Genesis means beginnings. We all began, but oftentimes we don't know how or why. While some believe the accounts from the Hebrew Bible found in the book of Genesis are unscientific and more of the substance of myth and folklore, others have found deep significance from their telling and have been amazed by how it provides a story for our beginning that is deeply rich and complex, yet simple at the same time. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Genesis 1:1. When you think of the word beginning used in Genesis, think about a head. The head of a tribe, chief, or family, father, is passed from generation to generation. The idea is that inheritance comes from the head of the family. As the head, creator, author, God has graciously allowed us to inherit this earth. Think of the head of a river as being its starting place. Think of the initiation of time as its starting point. Stephen Hawking concluded in one of his lectures that the universe has not existed forever. Rather, the universe and time itself had a beginning in the Big Bang. It's not hard to align the scientific perspective of the Big Bang with the account in Genesis. The Big Bang was like a rapidly expanding balloon. It swelled from a size smaller than an electron to nearly its current size within a tiny fraction of a second. Atheist turned agnostic astronomer Fred Hoyle, who coined the term Big Bang, famously stated, "A common sense interpretation of the facts suggests that a super intellect has monkeyed with physics." As Hoyle saw it, the Big Bang was not a chaotic explosion, but rather a very highly ordered event, one that could not have occurred by random chance. Interesting that Bill Gates, when asked about the DNA code that all living beings require for life to exist, said that DNA is like a computer program, but far, far more advanced than any software ever created. Perhaps the DNA code came from an intelligent being who made us in his image as explained in Genesis. The next video is an overview of the first half of the first book of the Hebrew and Christian scriptures called Genesis. Now, if you're watching this video on YouTube, you'll notice in the upper right corner a link to this video so you can access it from the Bible Project site. We're going to click on that link. We're going to have you click on that link and watch that video now. Now, if you're in the online course, remember at the bottom of each day, there's a discussion forum where you can leave a comment, perhaps how God's speaking to you. And if you're doing this in a small group or with others, you can have threaded comments where you can reply back and forth to one another and share a sense of community as you're going through this daily journey of 60 days through the Bible.